That is crucial. I struggled for years not knowing how to market myself successfully. Until you really laser in on what it is that you want and that you want to achieve in your career and that what you're willing to do, then you're gonna struggle. Because this career, this industry is all about marketing yourself, and it's all about networking. I was very, very guilty of this. I was cold calling people. I was faxing in resumes without them asking me. I was doing all of that stuff, which is bad marketing. That won't get you anything. The stuff that will get you something is by target marketing yourself to those individual places or those individuals that you know are looking for what you're trying to sell, which is yourself. And like I said, there's the marketing aspect, and then there's the networking aspect of it. So I also have another handout here. This is called My Network, okay? Networking is, you will live and die in the entertainment industry by networking. And what I mean by networking, that means not so much just calling up and cold calling, but it means developing relationships. The business is all built on relationships. So if you want to get in at a company, you don't immediately just call the president of the company. You start talking with the assistant, develop. Oh, thank you. One story that I often tell about developing relationships, and as it specifically relates to me, is I was working on a television show on the Universal lot. I was doing post-production. I was a huge Steven Spielberg fan. I always used to drive by, at the time it was Amblin, and go, I want to work there. And so it was only by my relationships of knowing a friend of ours that lived across the street who had worked on an Amblin movie. He had actually worked on Hook, and he had a relationship with somebody else. He had a relationship with the assistant in the in the president of production office, and that came back to me. I called her, and as I've said before, I think I talked with, her name was Diana. I would talk with Diana once a month for about 2 years. 2 years straight, I would call her up and just say, hey, my name's Ty, I talked to you last month and just wondering if there's any jobs. If you've got a movie going that you need a PA, what do you need? I'm here and I'm available to work. 2 years it took, till finally she called me up and said, you know what, we've got this independent movie that a friend of mine is making. Why don't you go be a PA on that movie? I was a PA on that movie. I did a good job. I was helpful, I was enthusiastic, I was passionate about it, and so he relayed back to her so that the next time she heard about a producer that needed an assistant, she called me and said, hey, this producer that was just working with Steven, he just finished Schindler's List, and he's looking for an assistant. Would you be interested? Yeah, I was. And so I went over and I met with that producer, and he hired me that same day. So I tie it back to the fact that I had a relationship with a gentleman that was a set designer. He had a relationship with the assistant to the head of production, and then my persistence of following through on that and being relentless in pursuing what it was my goal. And I say about being relentless because that's another. Thank you, Carrie. That's another thing that you absolutely goes hand in hand with being passionate. Is that you have to be relentless. You have to never give up. If it's something that you're really passionate about, you cannot give up. I've got more handouts. Now, so you say that you're passionate, you say that you're enthusiastic, you say you're building your network of people, You're getting more and more friends in the industry, and then you want to figure out, okay, I'm doing all of this, but how do I get in to meet like the big cheese at a company? How does that exactly work? Well, first, like I said about marketing yourself, you have to figure out what it is you're marketing. And I know, because I see dozens of young people come through my office, and it is those that find a way to distinguish themselves from everybody else. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I want to hand these out one at a time. It's those who distinguish themselves that are the ones that stick in my mind. And when I say distinguish themselves every week, I mean that they figure out something unique about themselves. And you'll see in this handout that I just handed, it's called you can't have it back, the personal pitch worksheet. And what this is that you go through and you start defining what's going to make you unique. What sort of aspects of your personality, your hobbies, do you skydive, do you snorkel, do you scuba dive, do you ride horses, do you sing, whatever it is, distinguishing that self on this worksheet and then making sure that that's part of your personal presentation. I mean, I meet with, like I said, dozens of young filmmakers, and I know that they're passionate and they want to do well and they want to be in the movie industry. But it is those people that come in and tell me something just unique about themselves, because suddenly you become not just a filmmaker, but you become the skydiving filmmaker, or you become something just slightly unique that distinguishes you from the rest of the crowd. And that is crucial. It's very, very crucial. I'm also going to hand out, these are sample resumes that you can take and you can look at. Thank you. Okay. I'll zoom through this, I promise. So, resumes, those sample resumes. Also, the way, I started to say, the way that you get in to talk with people is relationships with their assistants, and then after you develop a relationship with their assistant, then you start talking about, okay, is so-and-so, would they be available for a general meeting? It's not, I want to go in there and I want to ask them for a job. It's, I want to go in there and ask them some questions about what they do. Brian Grazer, who is Ron Howard's partner at Imagine Entertainment, one of the ways that he got started in the industry and developed his network of relationships was, I think it was once a week. It was either once a week or once every other week or something like that. He would go to somebody that he wanted to emulate, or that he didn't know, or that was important in the industry. And he would go to them and say, I really want to talk to you about what you do. He wasn't asking for a job, and he wanted to just gather information. And so this right here, this is a sample cover letter asking for just a general meeting. So I'm going to hand these out too. You can pass those back. About distinguishing yourself, finding those traits about you that are going to distinguish you from the thousands of people that are looking for that entry-level job. I told you before that persistence and passion, but there are thousands of people that will do a PA job. Believe me. And so, in this list, another handout, is potential questions for your general information meeting. So, while you're developing the way to market yourself, you also have to figure out questions that will be useful in that general meeting. So I'm passing these out too.